Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Los Angeles Community Breakout Session. Wow, what a conference. We are your Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy Conference chairs and thrilled everyone is here with us today. I'm Audrey Cohen-Sherwin, and I'm alongside with Lori Friedman, Susan Kane, Elisa Rubin, and Sherry Weiner. I'm proud to be representing the 800 plus Lions from LA. It was my second time attending a conference. We'd like to start by recognizing some of the incredible leaders joining us here today. Our National Women's Philanthropy Board members, got Heidi Monkarsh, who did an awesome job on the conference. Thank you, Heidi. So proud. Nancy Beiser, Lynn Bider, Kathy Cuccioni, Yona Goldberg, Roberta Holland, and Orna Wollens. Julie Platt, Board Secretary of Jewish Federations of North America and Chair of Live Secure, and immediate past chair of the Board of Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles. Jay Sanderson, President and CEO of the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles, and our Federation executive staff joining us here today. And of course, Karen Gettleman and Wendy Moss-Klein, our Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy co-chairs, and vice chairs Laura Ozer and Linda Schwimmer. We'd also like to acknowledge our past Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy chairs presented on the following slides. As well as our Los Angeles Alumni Board members of National Women's Philanthropy. And the next slides.
I am Elisa Rubin, and I'm thrilled to see so many of you on Zoom today. The Lion of Judah Conference has been very different than we originally anticipated when we first started planning. But sharing it with all of you has been very powerful and meaningful. It is especially great to virtually meet all of you who may be joining us for the first time. If you haven't already done so, take a minute and say hello to someone in the chat, maybe someone that invited you to attend or someone you haven't seen for a while. Think of it as one big community hug. This is my 8th Lion of Judah Conference. And though I miss having the opportunity to see all of you in person and get to know some of you better, as I've always done in the past, this conference gave me a gift I never expected. The opportunity to experience the Lion Conference with both my mother, Sylvia Price, a longtime Lion who taught me about Jewish philanthropy, and my daughter, Jamie, who is a Lion in training, or what I call a cub. Who's also working as we're doing this. I learned from this conference and all of you, Jamie will be inspired to carry on our pride, passion, and joy in being a Lion, just as my mother inspired me.
Throughout the conference, we heard from powerful Jewish leaders. In a typical conference, we would have spent this time now as a community reflecting on all we've learned and what's inspired us. Please feel free to share in the chat what your biggest takeaways were from this experience. There's so many, I don't even know how one can just put them all in a chat. But in the next hour, we hope to capture some of the true power of the Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy by highlighting stories of some of our many dedicated women in Los Angeles. I grew up in a small but cohesive Jewish community in St. Paul, Minnesota. And as Clea and Joanna of Home Edit discussed yesterday, because of this, I learned from a young age that I needed to make an active choice to be consciously Jewish through my involvement. When I came to LA from the East Coast after my children were grown, I sought out ways to contribute to Jewish life in my new home and was encouraged by friends to become involved in LA Federation. 2 years ago, I became a Lion and attended my first conference. And I'm so thankful I made that commitment. Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy is where I found my Jewish connection and community here in my West Coast home. And I'm so thrilled to have met so many of you and count you as my friends. So thank you. Elisa?
Today we join together for the virtually limitless International Lion of Judah Conference. A fitting theme because we are virtually limitless. We are sisters and daughters, mothers and friends. We are business professionals, young adults, volunteers, aunts, and grandmothers. We are proud to bring our Jewish values of tzedakah and tikkun olam to life by supporting the work of our Jewish Federation. Together with each of you, we are changing lives and shaping the future. I am in awe of the work our Federation and its strategic partners do, particularly Unistream, which is literally changing the lives of underprivileged Israeli youth and turning them into entrepreneurs and tomorrow's leaders. Last year, Unistream pivoted its entire program to online, and the students created tech solutions to assist their communities, Israel, and the world in managing the COVID-19 pandemic. Talk about virtually limitless. With Ruach and Pride, our Lions are creating change and bringing peace to our world. Now I'm honored and thrilled to introduce our talented Leslie Woolman, who will lead us in song with her beautiful voice.
Thank you, Elisa. So I'm coming to you straight from Lake Tahoe, and my Lion of Judah pin is in my home in Los Angeles. So you will, just for a minute, imagine that I am wearing proudly my Lion of Judah pin, which is encrusted with beautiful jewels that represent each level of giving that I have increased so proudly. And also it bears the flame, the Ner Tamid, which signifies the fact that I have endowed my lion. And that has given me a sense of inner peace. So let's just talk about peace for a minute. Peace is a concept that takes on many forms. Peace between nations, peace between people, and of course, inner peace. This year, I have discovered that inner peace is a state of mind. For me, this type of peace begins and ends with gratitude. Without gratitude, you cannot have true peace. To appreciate all that you have and to be grateful for everything is how we as Jews begin every morning with the Modeh Ani and end every evening with the Shema. Peace has deep roots that need nurturing and care, and how we care for others is the foundation upon which our Sisterhood of Lions was built. We stand on the shoulders of strong, wise, and giving women, Eshot Chayil. Now we are the vessels of peace and humanity for our Jewish community. So let's raise our voices now in gratitude for this community of strong and empowered women and lift each other up with a song of peace. Shalom Rav. And please join me if you know this, and if you don't, you can always la la la. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Everyone. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Hi ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Hi ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol et ובכל שעה
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, Leslie, for gracing us with your presence and inspiring us with your stunning words and that poignant song of love and peace. Thank you all for being here. It is so nice to see so many familiar and so many new faces. Thank you to our fantastic Lion Conference chairs and outreach committee for successfully building our LA Pride to over 300 of us for these 2 enlightening and meaningful days together. And a big mazal tov to our phenomenal Heidi Monkarsh for your strong leadership of this conference. We are so blessed and grateful to have you as a part of our Los Angeles community. You made us proud with your profound commitment to planning this virtually limitless global conference, the largest Lion conference ever, with nearly 5,000 participants from 146 federation communities. Amazing. And a big shout out to our incomparable Julie Platt, chair of Live Secure, who moderated an exceptional and important conversation on safety and security at yesterday's opening plenary. LA represented well, really well, and rocked it. Kol HaChavod, Heidi and Julie, and all the other participants from LA. This is my 7th Lion Conference. Each one was held in a different city and had a different flavor and focus. But I always left feeling inspired and fulfilled and more uniquely connected to my Los Angeles Hevra. I truly hope each of you enjoyed this wonderful opportunity to hear and learn from impressive speakers and to share and feel the collective power of so many passionate, dynamic, and philanthropic women who care deeply about the Jewish future. Being co-chair of Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy and working alongside my dear Wendy Moss Klein fills my life with purpose and meaning. It is a privilege to be a part of this organization that understands and knows how to hold up a community when it is most needed. And this has been quite a year. We have all suffered and had to stay strong. Thankfully, our federation has responded in spades. And this is exactly what our 100+ year federation was built to do: respond quickly, effectively, and compassionately to the overwhelming needs and crises which arise in our Jewish community. In addition to my work in SWWP, I sit on the Federation's Caring for Jews in Need Committee, otherwise known as CJIN. The CJIN body thoughtfully and painstakingly evaluates the needs of the most vulnerable in our community and works closely with our partner organizations, both here and in Israel, to deliver critical services. It is fulfilling to be a part of this life-changing work and to truly understand the impact of my philanthropy. CJIN's work and the Federation's other programmatic initiatives, community engagement, and ensuring the Jewish future are overseen by our stellar Chief Program Officer and Executive Vice President, Becky Sobelman-Stern. Becky is also one of our over 800 proud LA Lions who will share some personal thoughts and a brief update about how our Federation continues to strengthen our community. And after we hear from Becky, we will recognize and honor our past Kipnis Wilson Freeland honorees and hear powerful stories and reflections from a few of our LA Lions. Thank you for being with us today. Becky?
Good morning. The Shahianu Prayer is said the first time you do something each calendar year, and here's how it reads. Praised are you, Spirit of the universe, who keeps us alive, sustains us, and brings us to this moment. This is the moment in the year 2021 that I will make my Federation annual gift. For me, it is indeed a holy moment, a moment of contemplation and reflection. It is the moment I remember the words of my late father that he expressed in a letter to me and my brother in his ethical will. Get this one. I have always given charity within my means, as my parents before me have done, and I trust you will continue to do so. Be aware of the needs of our people and give tzedakah. In my 34-year career as a Federation professional, I have taken my father and my mother's wishes and acted upon them. I have spent my life being aware of the needs of our people, no matter the moment. As a young professional on fundraising and family missions, I met immigrants from Ethiopia and the former Soviet Union on the airport tarmac in Israel and was so deeply moved. We as a collective made sure their needs were met as they started their new lives. As a rising professional, I traveled to Seattle and Houston to help with their communal trauma after man-made and natural disasters, whether they were shootings or hurricanes, and supported those federations after their disasters because that is what they needed. As a young mom, I focused on the needs of raising my own Jewish family and giving my children, Noah and Ellie, joyful Jewish experiences. As a recent mother-in-law, I contemplate the needs of our extended family that reflects diversity of culture and backgrounds, with a Persian daughter-in-law and a son-in-law to be who is exploring what it will mean to raise a Jewish family. And finally, as the Chief Program Officer of our Jewish Federation, I have taken all of these experiences and more as I work on the needs of our most vulnerable, the needs of our children, teens and young adults, and the needs of our beloved city. Our needs remain today and beyond. We are deeply proud of the impact we have had during COVID-19 by continuing already existing programs and creating new ones. In 2021, we must continue to provide financial aid award dollars so our preschoolers, campers, and students still have access to Jewish experiences, even if their parents are facing hardships. We must provide emergency and business loans to the newly poor and hungry in our community. We remain committed to helping our Holocaust survivors and frail seniors. We are working to get them vaccinated and making sure they receive their home-delivered meals and begin to decrease their isolation. So, Dad, indeed, I know the needs of our Jewish people, and I am blessed to be a part of a federation that beats blood into the heart of our Jewish community. I am joined by so many others with diverse backgrounds and stories who collectively want to address these needs and these opportunities. Therefore, today, I will think about your message proudly, make my 2021 pledge and say the Shahianu Prayer as I do so. It is indeed a holy moment. Wendy, I now pass the program to you.
Thank you, Becky, for your thoughtful and inspiring words. Always so beautiful and so impressive. I'm Wendy Moss Klein, co-chair of Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy, and I am honored to partner with my wonderful co-chair, Karen Gettleman. Today, we are all so grateful to gather with the Jewish women of our community and our fellow sisterhood around the world. Being a Lion of Judah is an honor that for some take years to achieve and for others take a moment. I have been involved in the Federation since my 20s, when my mentor, Trina Greitzer, recruited me as the chair of the Young Women's Evening Group. I happen to be one of those women, though, that took years to become a Lion, even if I had so many experiences starting in my 20s. I had always admired those women that were part of Lion of Judah. They were the women that seemed so devoted to the cause and represented leadership and dedication to our community. I, as I do now, worked full time and really couldn't find or figure out the financial and time commitment, even though I felt so committed to our Jewish Federation and held numerous positions on our women's cabinet. 5 years ago, when Debbie Graboff was co-chair of Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy, I decided to honor her, my dear best friend and sister, and become a Lion. Since that time, I have felt a different sense of commitment. Although we are all bonded to our Sylvia Weiss Women's Philanthropy community, this Lion of Judah association took me to a different level of understanding, dedication, friendship, leadership, and devotion. As a Lion, I have experienced and learned about so many programs offered through the Federation. I feel especially inspired and connected with the Jewish Federation's PG Library program. Because of my career in children's programming and love for children, I am always enlightened by this program that provides free age-appropriate books, story times, and family-friendly Jewish activities all year long. I take so much pride and comfort knowing that I am helping to ensure our Jewish future through programs like this. In becoming a Lion, I took on a new responsibility to protect and care for our beloved Jewish community here in Los Angeles, in Israel, and across the world. At past Lion conferences, a special honor is awarded to extraordinary women who have set a high standard for philanthropy and volunteerism. The prestigious internationally recognized award is given to Lions of Judah who have demonstrated the highest ideals of leadership and involvement. The award is called the Kipnis Wilson Friedland Award, established in honor of its co-founders of the National Lion of Judah program. In this year's special virtual format, it is my honor to present to you our last Los Angeles Kipnis Wilson Friedland Award winner, Gloria Lushing, who will speak on behalf of all past honorees. She, like the women before her, is a woman of valor who has dedicated her life to commitment of philanthropy, especially to our Jewish Federation. Gloria, thank you for participating today and sharing your heartfelt words. Gloria Lushing.
Wendy, thank you, darling. That was so beautiful. Good morning to our amazing and dedicated Los Angeles Lion community. And for those of you who are not Lions, we welcome you as well. I miss you all so much, but fortunately, we are able to communicate in this way, which we have to be grateful for. I remember the wonderful, amazing experience that I had with so many of you at the last Lion of Judah conference. And with my daughters by my side at the 2019 Lion of Judah conference in Florida, the energy was so high, caring and sharing and creating bonds and special memories as we expressed and confirmed our commitment as dedicated Jewish women. And I was beyond touched that year to have been chosen to be the recipient of the Kipnis Wilson Friedland Award. I was one of 80 women from around the world who were honored by their federations to represent our communities. And of course, I was chosen to represent my Los Angeles community. I did not take this honor lightly, but rather embraced it. And I would like to take this time to congratulate all of our past recipients of this prestigious award over the years. We are grateful that you, our federation, believe that we have made a difference in our community. And we are forever appreciative and stand totally committed. Thank you. Thank you for the respect that you have shown us. In closing, I feel that my passion for my Judaism and my heritage, which means so much to me, and the fact that I'm a first-generation American has filtered down to my daughters who get it all and feel it all. And I am truly blessed. Stay safe, be well, stay committed, and thank you for listening.
This is to our past Kipnis Wilson Friedland recipients. You continue to inspire us every day. I am Sherry Weiner, and I am one of the co-chairs of the Lion Conference. I'm actually speaking to you from my home in Deer Valley, and I'm so sorry I'm not wearing my lion pin, but I have been involved with the Federation for over 30 years. And I've actually attended approximately 10 Lion of Judah conferences. It is the Los Angeles Federation is the cornerstone of the Los Angeles community, and the builders and generations before us worked so hard to create this amazing community. I have looked up to all these amazing women and men and have truly been amazed at their dedication, strength, fortitude, and commitment to the Federation and the Los Angeles Jewish community and beyond. What I have come to respect is the ability for the Federation to change course, as well as to reevaluate certain projects as necessary, yet keeping our Federation goals in mind. As you know, security for the entire Jewish community has been essential, and they truly were able to turn on a dime and create the Community Security Initiative. It has been an amazing thing to watch this over the past number of years work with the entire community. Also, in addition, outreach to young people is essential in this day and age, and bringing people back to their roots has been a very large project called New Roots for the Federation. I continue to be impressed with their programs and programming that has come out of this particular area. Being a Lion has given me the opportunity to meet an incredibly dedicated group of women of all ages who have their hearts and their minds in the right places. With that, it is now my pleasure to introduce Marlise Scher, who sits on the amazing New Roots Committee I just mentioned and is also a member of the JFNA National Young Leadership Cabinet.
Hi there, my name is Marlise Scher, and I am celebrating my 3rd year as a Lion of Judah. I am so grateful to be among you badass women. I know that I am biased, but I'm pretty sure LA really does have the best women. We are strong, intelligent, motivated, and we still have that big city edge. And this is coming from a St. Louis girl, but since my sister and my mom and my grandma are from there, I'm going to have to include them as well, since they are obviously the best of the best. Now, I didn't grow up religious, nor do I consider myself particularly religious now, but I did grow up knowing that being Jewish meant living a good life with thought and intention. Not because of something greater on the other side, but because what we do today can make tomorrow a little bit better and a little bit brighter for all of those around us. So I had this great Jewish foundation and I went to Catholic college in San Diego. Needless to say, I really had no Jewish friends in San Diego, nor did I really grow my Jewish community when I moved to LA. Seriously, I must have been the only girl in LA with only 2 Jewish friends. Luckily, Odelia was Israeli and Julie was equally intent that I go on birthright. Plus, they both said to me, it's life-changing. I can't explain it, you just have to go. Plus it's free. So why wouldn't I go? So at 26 and about to age out at the time, my sister Morgana and I joined the LA Way Jewish Federation led birthright. My friends were right. I can't describe it except that the trip actually did change my life. As I boarded the plane from LAX, I saw the tallest Jewish guy I had ever seen. He was 6 foot and so handsome. It basically took me a day to fall in love with Adam. He bought everyone giant water bottles after our first night out, and he asked intelligent questions at every tour stop. And my sister and I found a best friend there, and the 3 of us roomed together the entire adventure. I came home with this heart so full of love for my boyfriend, Adam, my new best friend, Jana, and for Israel and just being Jewish. After the trip, I didn't want the party to stop, so I volunteered to help organize the events for my bus. I had found my young Jewish community. Then I was asked to sit on the young adult board. That was when I really saw that there were young people who cared about bringing our community together and making sure that the young Jews of LA felt seen. Our first meeting was hosted by a major Jewish Federation donor, and I was moved by her Jewish story and her passion for starting the Young Adults Division. Since then, I have been given the privilege of chairing the Young Adult Board and now a part of the JFNA's National Young Leadership Cabinet. And that tall drink of water I mentioned earlier, that's my husband, and we have a beautiful little daughter named Adelaide. And all the Jewish Federation had to do was ask. My first leadership role, I was asked to donate $180. A year later, in order to sit on the Young Adult Board, I was asked to give $1,000, and it was very meaningful at the time, but how could I say no? The Federation had literally changed my life. Then 3 years ago, Alexi Baker asked me if I wanted to join the National Young Leadership Cabinet. It sounded amazing, but it was $5,000, and that was a very big jump. So I sat down and wrote all the ways the Federation had shaped me. Sorry, you can hear Adelaide in the background. She's having a day. I had a family. I have a powerful Jewish identity, a group of like-minded Jewish friends, and the knowledge of the huge impact that the LA Federation has on our community. So I said yes, and I gave my Lion gift with pride. That same year, I was awarded the Young Women's Leadership Award at the GA in Israel, and Adam and I were invited to join the major gifts trip. When you have a chance, go on a Federation mission trip, and nothing will make you more filled with pride than seeing the impact our donations make worldwide. On this trip, the women could not believe I hadn't bought a lion pin yet. So on one of the last days of the trip, that same woman who hosted my first meeting when I was starting out on my Jewish journey, who I now consider a great friend and mentor, Heidi Monkarsh, organized a surprise pinning ceremony. I now have the privilege of wearing this pin to every Jewish event. And one day, I hope my daughter Adelaide will proudly wear her lion pin and experience the same love of our Jewish community as I have. And with legacy in mind, I will turn it over to Lynn Heimelstein, Lion of Judah Endowment Co-Chair.
Thank you, Mary-Lise. What an inspiring story. Your energy is amazing. When I was asked to speak about endowment, I began thinking about relationships and responsibilities. My relationships with my family and my Jewish community, and my responsibilities to my loved ones in Jewish Los Angeles. I realized I have been a donor to Federation longer than I've been married and have had children, and now I have a grandchild. It was my mother, Lily Rossman of blessed memory, whose example I followed. My first gift to the Los Angeles Federation was when I was in my 20s. In my mid-30s, I decided I wanted to become a lion. I wanted to join the sisterhood of women who proudly wore the lion pin, which signified not only a financial commitment to our community, but also a very powerful symbol that I take seriously, the belief that all Jews are responsible for each other. My commitment to Federation has deepened over the years, both financially and through leadership. When I first learned about endowment in the 90s, I recall thinking, this really makes sense. At the time, I was in my 40s and our children were young. To protect them financially, my husband and I each took out life insurance policies. So I thought, well, I also have a financial commitment to the Jewish community. I took out a life insurance policy with Federation named as beneficiary to ensure the protection of my broader Jewish family. The older I get, the more I appreciate the responsibility I have to my immediate family and our extended family. I also have a responsibility to my Federation family, the brothers and sisters whom I have never met, but who have become dependent on me. Among them are the frail seniors, Holocaust survivors, young children going to Jewish summer camp, and the young adults longing for a deeper Jewish connection. As my husband Phil and I recently worked on our estate plan, I added an additional endowment to our federation. As I began to steadily increase my annual campaign gift, I knew it was time to ensure that my financial planning for my Jewish community also increased. Yes, I simply could have added a bequest. However, by officially establishing a Lion of Judah endowment and providing the Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles with my letter of intent, I have formally stated that I am ensuring the future of our Jewish community. By officially creating my legacy through my endowment, I am publicly stating to my Jewish community that not only will my tzedakah continue throughout my life, it will also continue when I am no longer here. I know that my children and now my grandson will have a strong Jewish community for years to come. I congratulate each and every one of you who have already created your own legacy through endowment. I encourage those of you who haven't and are interested in doing so to reach out to me, my endowment co-chairs, or Betsy Berger, our amazing professional, for information on how you can ensure a strong future for our Jewish community. And now it is with great pleasure I turn this session over to Kathy Gucciani, National Women's Philanthropy Board Member and past chair of the Sylvia Wise Women's Philanthropy.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see all those beautiful faces out there. I wish we could be together in person. First, let me start by saying that I was honored and humbled to be chosen to represent Los Angeles on the National Women's Philanthropy Board 3 years ago. I stand on the shoulders of past LA women who have served on the board, including our own Yona Goldberg, who was once a national president. Today, I am joined by Lynn Bider, Heidi Monkarsh, who we have a great deal of thanks to give to for our wonderful conference, Orna Wolins, and Nancy Beiser, all Lions who with me represent the Los Angeles Federation community. The National Women's Philanthropy Board comprises women of Jewish federations from across North America and Israel. We meet annually at a retreat to strategize how we can increase fundraising and add more Lions to our ranks and more endowments. Every other year, we plan the Lion of Judah Conference. In the spirit of tzedakah and tikkun olam, the National Women's Philanthropy Board is dedicated to the continuity, connectivity, and thriving future of our North American communities, Israel, and the Jewish people. On a personal note, my involvement with National Women's Philanthropy Board has connected me to a sisterhood of other philanthropic women who represent hundreds and thousands of donors at all levels of giving, including the many Lions of Judah. I have found it to be an invaluable, meaningful, and inspiring opportunity, especially when I have been able to meet with other communities and share stories and best practices. Those of us who represent Los Angeles are always looked up to, as we have such an amazing federation with many examples of successful programs. I am a proud Lion of Judah, and I have endowed my Lion so that my gift will keep on giving beyond my lifetime. I firmly believe in the future well-being of the global Jewish community, and I believe that it is inextricably linked to the power of women's philanthropy. And thus, when I am in a setting with other National Women's Philanthropy Board members, I deeply feel the role we play in inspiring and creating social justice, healing the sick, feeding the hungry, preserving human dignity, and building Jewish identity. It is truly a powerful experience. It is an honor and a privilege to serve the women of Los Angeles in my role as a National Women's Philanthropy Board member. It is now with great pleasure that I turn this back to Wendy and Karen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy, for your beautiful words. We're going to go back to our video honoring our past Kipnis Wilson Friedland Award. Dylan? So we want to thank you to all you beautiful women for joining us today in our virtual International Lion of Judah breakout session and conference. We hope your experience was insightful and meaningful. We want to acknowledge Annette Shapiro, who could be considered our Lion of Judah mama, here in Los Angeles. She had the foresight to connect us in the late 80s to our endeared and valued Lion of Judah community. And a hats off to Heidi Monkarj, who is an inspiration to all of us in her national board capacity and her Los Angeles Federation board position. With the smile always on her face, Heidi shows passion and commitment to our federation every day, and it's contagious. Thank you. And Karen?
And of course, thank you to our fabulous LA conference co-chairs for your enthusiasm and hard work in planning this beautiful community breakout session. We would especially love to thank our dynamo, Dylan Dornfeld. We are so grateful for her tireless work, perfection to detail, and her graceful and sweet attitude. And so happy we got that exquisite video to run for us today. So, and kol hakavod to all of our past Kipnis Wilson Friedman honorees. What a treasure to have that video. And also a big thank you to Lauren Shorten for her wonderful administrative support. We truly love our SWWP team. We are already busy planning for the upcoming year, and we look forward to seeing many of you at our Lion of Judah event soon. Everyone be healthy, be safe, and we're sending love to one and all. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.